Welcome back to Plant-Based Besties. I'm Debbie Chu.
I'm Joey Troxel.
And we got a good show for you today. So Joey's going to start it off.
Yeah. So Deb, listen, I don't want to scare you. You might want to sit down, but we're getting old.
Yeah, newsflash.
We're not young anymore. And I feel like everyone is so young that we're watching on YouTube and that we're comparing ourselves to. It's kind of frustrating. So Deb, you and I have been talking about this. You know this. People in the community are aware that I had an injury, but I've never really talked about it. And I'm going to take over the conversation just for a minute here to talk about what happened, right?
Yeah.
So I was at the gym working out on February 22nd, like I normally do, and I didn't warm up, which is really the cause of all of this. And I worked out and I hurt myself. I thought I had a shoulder injury, and I kind of went to a doctor an orthopedic, I guess, or whoever does the back, and we figured out like, oh, you've got some sort of rhombus something, and let's do physical therapy. And I did that. And I finally, after about a month of this, I thought I really want an MRI. And you know how I hate MRIs because I'm claustrophobic, but I really want one. I really want to know what I'm dealing with. So I did that. And here's what came back. So they said that I have something called foraminal stenosis. And that, along with some minimal disc bulging and some bone spurring. All right, Deb. So basically, here's what I have. I guess the foramen, or what is that called? Foramen. It's foramen. Yeah. So that is, I guess, the little hole that the nerves come through, and you can see the nerves are coming through these openings, right? The yellow's at the nerve in my spinal column, and it's in my neck. Right. So it looks like, they've got just enough space normally to come out, and there's not a lot extra. Right.
Right.
I feel like, that's I think part of the problem right now is that we've been built wrong. Right. Because I need a lot more space. I need to be free, and I'm not. So the nerves are going to certain places, and depending on which nerve it is, this one happens to be to my left arm. Right. So the foramina, and then what is it called?
Foraminal.
Foraminal, yes. The foraminal, that space, right? Somehow, now this happened at the gym, but I'm being told it's been building up, right? But it didn't hurt for that. That space has somehow contracted, or there's not as much space, which is now pinching the nerve. And that's the stenosis, the narrowing of the space, right? So on the right, you can see really what's happening here. Now, on the right, it shows like a herniated disc. My disc is minimally bulging, which means the top two discs on the right there, they are not bulging at all. The herniated disc, that's a pretty big bulge, but I don't have that. But I do have it where it's just minimally sticking out. And believe it or not, Deb, just a little bit is enough to push against that nerve, right? Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, you can have stenosis and never even know that you have it, and then you have to do something like what you did at the gym, and then it just like activates it. And we all, as we get older, are going to have some narrowing and bone spurs and things like that. It's just kind of with aging. So it's not surprising that when I looked at your results, you sent them to me, that you have the minimal disc bulging, and most of us at our age have that to some extent. So
I, and maybe this happens to you too, as a plant-based eater, you walk around as if you're bulletproof, right? Like, I don't get sick. Like, I taught in the classroom during COVID. I did not get COVID. My kids went out, would get COVID. They would take out half the class with them. I didn't get it. Tim didn't get it. Lex didn't get it, right? Like, I haven't been sick for years. Like, I don't miss work. So I always walk around like my way of eating is like my shield, right? So whenever something like this goes wrong, I'm like, son of a, what? Like, how could that happen, right? Like,
it shakes your world a little bit.
It does. And I we grew up believing you needed milk for good bones, and then found out later it's the calcium's good bones, and milk is actually deteriorating your bones, right?
Right.
And I haven't drank milk in 20 years or 15 years or whatever. So I have a lot of tofu, so I get a lot of calcium. So I almost feel like, what did I do wrong and all that? But I think that's the wrong thought process. I mean, we're getting older, and if you have bones, then you can have problems like this, right?
Right. Exactly. It's, after 50,000 miles, things start breaking down, and but it's how you react to that,
Yeah, I've got more than 50,000 miles on me, but okay. I think that's the problem.
300,000 miles. I was being kind. It's time for a body transplant.
I was going to say we need a trade-in.
Right. In 2015, I tore my rotator cuff picking up a suitcase.
Oh, wow.
Now, that wasn't what really did it, but I mean, there was years of working in the nursing industry, pushing patients, rolling patients, heavy patients, and it just kind of started weakening. And then just that one thing, and I had to, it was the same thing. I was like, this is impossible. How could I get hurt? And I had to go through the process. It's like all the emotions, right? Denial, and then finally acceptance.
Grief.
Grief. And so, I did all the things I needed to do. And it took like 12 weeks for me to really be able, I took 12 weeks off work. I couldn't work. Wow. And even still, it's not 100%. I would say it's like 98, but I really have to be careful now in the gym. When I'm doing the shoulder thing, I don't do a lot of weight on that one. I do other things, but I do the weights because I want to support all those muscles, so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. So I think that the key to stuff like this as you're getting older is just to make some changes, right? But still kind of move forward, right? Right.
You might have to modify a thing or two. Like my right knee has a lot of arthritis. So I just have to be careful of that, and it starts talking to me when I do too much hiking or whatever. And then I know, okay, I need to back off a little bit, but it's not going to stop me from, moving forward. I think it's really important to keep active.
I think so too. The minute that you do nothing and stop, that's when, you're going down a path where it's going to be too late very fast. So.
Right. Exactly. And if you haven't started lifting, it's never too late. I don't think so, but go on.
Well, I have some other pictures too. I mean, that's really the big thing that's wrong with me. But there's plenty of other things to worry about for sure. I guess one of the things I have is an annular tear or an annular fissure. It's actually called. Have you seen this before?
It's like a cross section.
Yes, exactly. This is like cross section, and you can see how it's the normal annula would be kind of like the kidney bean without that little piece that's now drifting toward the bone, right? Mm-hmm. So that's called an annular fissure or tear. And I guess that's going on in one of my discs also. I've been reading about this, and that will supposedly heal itself over time. So I'm not too worried about that. And I wonder how much of this, I think like probably, the stenosis is probably something that was coming along, but I think something like this may have happened from the actual, the over-tooing myself where it tore that. And I guess that's figuring into this also. So, getting an MRI is very enlightening in some ways because it just gives you, all this information. It said all my other discs were fine and there was nothing wrong with them, which I was really happy about.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm trying not to look at this as like, oh my gosh, it's a death sentence, right? Like what's wrong with me, right? But at the same time, I have to know that I am not able to ego lift at the gym. I really have to do what we've been saying, which is go to the gym for not to show everyone that I'm muscular and all that, but to maintain what I have now so I'm not losing anything. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. You're on the right track.
I think as we're getting older, that's kind of the mindset we should have. I guess the big question probably everyone has is like, why should I go to the gym if I'm going to hurt myself, right? And I think about that, and what are the other options? You'd stay home and do nothing, right? Isn't that even more dangerous?
I think so. I think it's important. If you've never gone to the gym in your life, then you're going to maybe get a trainer if you can afford that, or just start slow by walking, and then you just build up and start with light weights and see how you feel, how your body works. And of course, you're going to check with your doctor before you start anything new. But I think it's nothing but positive,
I agree. there are days like everyone else where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, right?
Right.
But I've never left the gym and went, I'm so sorry I did this, right?
Exactly.
I think, if you're worried about hurting yourself, I think you're more likely to hurt yourself if you're inactive, because inactivity leads to a lot of other problems, right? You've got, by at least keeping busy, you're preventing injuries, chronic conditions, right, from setting in. You keep your balance going, your bone density stronger. Right. There's you're more mentally alert. There's all these benefits of moving and exercising that you don't get if you sit home and you're worried that something's going to happen to you, right? Like that saying that the couch is more dangerous than the gym. I really believe that.
The couch is the new smoking, is what they say.
Couching is the new smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard that. So,
I remember when we were younger, there were smoking couches, right? Wasn't there smoking,
like lounges or whatever? Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah. All right, Deb, let's put some questions on the board here. So, should I lift weights as a senior? I feel like that's what we just talked about. Yes, you should. And just what you said, you should start slow, just do something, keep moving. And I'm going back to the gym. I don't know what to say here. I'm not worried about hurting myself. I'm just going to adjust. But, the reason we changed everything about our lives in the last few years is that as we're getting older, we're realizing we need more strength, right? It's not a time to go, oh, I'm too old, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
It's time to go, listen, I'm getting older, but I want to continue to do this, right? So what do I have to do? And that means protein and building muscles, right? Do you feel like the same way you should lift weights as a senior?
Yes, totally. There's so much research out there now saying that we need to keep our muscle, and when you don't want to be frail, that's when you're going to fall, you're going to break a hip or something, and then you're in the hospital, then you're going to get pneumonia. It's just set you down a path that you do not want to go on. And I see it all the time in my job, and people they don't get it. They don't get the connection. And it's so important.
Think about people when we were growing up, people my age and your age, me 60, you just over 60,
68, you can say it.
Remember what they looked like, right? Remember how people in your family, they couldn't get around. Yeah, they'd walk. I mean, and now, I look at us and I think, well, we're hopefully really far from that, right? And we're, I'm at a milestone age. You're eventually going to get to a milestone age in a few years. I don't want that to be me. And I feel like everyone around me, or at least the people my age that are kind of not doing this, are really in kind of bad shape. They talk about how many medicines they're on, blah, blah, blah. And it's the first thing when I go to a doctor, right? When I went to the doctor for this, they're like, what medications you're on? I'm like, I'm not on medications. You don't take anything? Diabetes, blood pressure? No, I'm not on anything, right? I'm not on anything, right?
They're shocked.
Yeah, right, yes. What's wrong with you, right? How am I supposed to make any money? You're not giving us any money. So I'm like, yeah, I am not on anything. I know that's just the way it is. So, but I'm guessing that the majority of people who are 60 and 70 who walk into these places, when they're list your medications, need paper to write on, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I talk to patients when I'm at work and I'm getting them ready for surgeries. We go over all their medications, and I'm telling you, 10 plus medications. Yeah. At minimum. When I run into a guy that's 77 and he takes nothing, I'm like, oh, I want to talk to you. What's your secret? What do you do? And he's active. Yeah. He may not be lifting weights, but he's working in the yard. He's, lives on a ranch. I mean, they are moving and grooving. So there it is right there. You don't need to sit around.
And we see that, I go to the gym and I see older guys that are obviously older than me in their 70s, and they're out there 3 times a week. They're not trying to kill it, but they're doing their thing. And I'm just that's going to be me. I'm just going to make sure I keep moving. And they don't look like they're slowing down anytime. I want to be that at 70. I want to be that at 80. I don't know how old this guy is. I want to go over and say, how old are you? I want to offend them, right? So,
but I do that, Joey. There's a couple women in my gym and we talk, and, usually they'll ask me first, and then I'm like, well, how old are you? And they're usually about, 5-6 years older than me. And I'm like, you are my idol. This is what I want to be in 5-6 years and on. Yeah. And they like you said, 3 days a week. But even when you're not at the gym, you still need to be active.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anybody has stuff like that about me, I love to share. Like, oh, let me tell you what I'm doing. Right, here's what I'm working toward every day. So definitely, as a senior, we definitely still need to have some weight training, some plenty of movement every day. So for sure, I think we both agree on that. Let's look at topic 2. What can I keep from getting injured? And this is becoming bulletproof. How can I bulletproof myself? And I think for me, this is the reason I got injured. I knew. Right? I know that I have to warm up. I knew that and I didn't do it. And now, like months later, I'm just still paying the price. Now, did I already have this stuff already? Apparently, it sounds like I did, right? It sounds like this was coming because of age. But at the same time, would I have been in this situation right now where I had to have physical therapy and all that? Probably not. So what can you do from getting injured? To bulletproof yourself, you can warm up and work up to things and not try and compare yourself to other people. That's how I see it. What do you think?
Yeah. And also know that you can't be bulletproof.
I don't accept that.
I'm sorry, but you can't be. And that's where you get in trouble when you think I'm bulletproof. You're human and you're getting older. And I just think it's important to keep, not that you're, you want to get as close to bulletproof as you can.
Right.
But there's still going to be that little percentage that could sneak in there. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
But warming up is key and staying in your limits. Right, Joey?
Yeah, well, I'm having to learn that, but yes, Deb, thanks.
Right. Yeah, just gradual increases.
Yeah, I agree. You can do a lot to help yourself by being prepared for everything that you do, whether it's, in life, whether it's this or something else. Yeah, like you said, there is no bulletproofing, but I really think just having a diet where you're strengthening your bones with calcium, where you're getting all your vitamins and minerals, you're maybe if you're working out, you're taking creatine, that sort of thing, that'll help you, be strong enough to do whatever it is you're trying to do without hurting yourself. You can do a bunch of things, but you do want to work out or exercise within your limits for sure, just like anything else, right? I guess number 3, we talked a little bit about this, but won't I probably hurt myself with fitness as a senior? Listen, you can choose to stay home on the couch like we talked about, or you can choose to do something. Will you hurt yourself? It's possible, right? Like it's possible. Like I did hurt myself. I'm set back a little bit, and there was, I've got to take some pain medications. Now I don't. That's all gone. But that's like they say, there is no pain. There is no gain without pain. No pain, no gain. And I'm not trying to make, big gains, but at the same time, I would like to get further than I am just in life, being, active and moving and all that. Will I hurt myself? It's possible, but sure. I'm not gonna
You can also walk out your door and get hit by a car.
You can.
You can't live your life thinking that, I'm going to get hurt or this or that to stop you from living your life. That's how I think.
We can't live in fear.
Right. You can't live in fear. Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm not going to do that. So, I want so much more. I know where, when my kids realize and my students realize how old I am, they're like, oh my God, you're so old, as if you've got like no days left ahead of you. And there's still like so much more. Like you're my grandpa's age. I'm like, okay, thank you for that. Right.
Yeah.
There's still so much more I want to accomplish. Like I'm not ready to go. I mean, I'm looking forward to retirement when I can really start doing stuff, right? Where I'm not hindered by a 9-to-5 and all that. And I want to do that, with my family and all that. So there's so much more I want to accomplish. I don't know if you know this, but like, I guess 65, the average person dies at like 70 something, 78 or something. I just read. So you have like 11 years of retirement after you retire or something, or it's 70 to 81 or I don't know. And that's I'm not doing that.
No, because you could live to be 95 years old. So you've got 35 years.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And I don't want those 35 years to be in a wheelchair or my bones are brittle, right? I want them to be like, doing everything I want to do.
Right. Exactly.
For sure. So I guess the gist of all this is that, things happen like this and you just kind of have to roll with them. Luckily, Deb, we're in good enough shape and health where something like this does happen, we can make a pretty much a complete recovery.
Yeah, and you will. Yeah, for sure. You just have to go through the process, and it's a process.
All right, so I think that's probably a good a bunch of information for those. I mean, a lot of our followers are of our age, right?
Or older.
Or older, or maybe just getting there, right? Yeah. I mean, I think if you're in like your 40s, it's time to start thinking about stuff like this, right? Yeah. So I think that works for a lot of them. So Deb, the April podcast is just about over here, but we do have some things coming up next month, right? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a Mother's Day podcast, and we're going to have a really cool sponsor, and we're going to have a giveaway. And yeah, so make sure that you watch our May podcast for details so you can sign up for that giveaway. And we're not going to tell you exactly what it is. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're going to honor mothers.
Yes, absolutely. Mother's Day, a big deal. So, you know, I have this story about Mother's Day. You know, we send our mothers, my mom's, Tim's mom's, flowers and stuff every year. And when we say we, I mean, I manage that. I do it because Tim works a lot. Well, one year, I asked him to send his mother flowers and make sure you don't forget. And I sent my mother flowers, and he forgot, and Mother's Day got here. And his mom called, and she's very close to me. His mom called and said, where did you send me anything? And I was like, Tim, did you send her anything? And he was like, no, I forgot. And he goes, Mama, I'm so sorry. I didn't. I meant to, and I didn't. And then I said, yeah, we were just kind of working. And his mother lashes out at me, not at him. Right. And it's like, we're all busy, Joey. You could have sent something. And I'm like, well, I did send didn't get any better, but I did send my mom flowers. Tim was supposed to send you flowers. She was pretty upset. But I called my mother and my sister, and they both said the same thing. I said, here's what happened. And she's mad at me. And my mom goes, well, who normally sends the flowers to her over the last 15 years? And I go, well, I do. She goes, well, then it is your fault. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, she knows it's not him sending it. She knows it's you, and you didn't send it. And I was like, what? So I hung up my Mother's Day, called my sister. I'm like, here's the story. She's like, oh, yeah, it's totally your fault. I was like, what? So now I know, crazy, right? So Tim is forgetful about stuff like that. And I guess she's known that her whole life, but then started getting flowers every Mother's Day for 15 years, right? And was like, okay, it's Joey. And then I didn't send it. So ever since then, right? Like, I still manage it no matter what. That's my Mother's Day story, Deb. It's my fault, just so you know. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Okay. You learned your lesson on that one.
Well, yeah, I learned that people know things without you even telling them, right? They're aware. She, all these years, right? She thanks her sons for the flowers every year, but knew I was sending them, right? And I guess that's really just a good mother, right?
Yeah.
Like not going, oh, thankfully, you know, your husband takes care of me now on Mother's Day. She knows it's a group effort, but you know, but I was just shocked, and I was like, well, this isn't really fair because she's not my mother, but she's really, I mean, she married us and all that stuff. So she treats me like one of the family. So there you go. So Deb, if people want to follow us, because believe it or not, I'll get people that watch you and don't know who I am, right? And I think you probably get the same thing. Like, oh, I saw you on Plant-Based Besties. I just subscribed, whatever. They can follow me on Plant-Based Dads, right? And what about you?
And Chew on Vegan is my name on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes.
So we both have, kind of a long history of how we got here and what we're doing, right? But we would love for you to make sure you subscribe so you can get content. Please subscribe to whatever channel this is on, because Deb, you probably know this, but like 80% of people who watch videos don't subscribe.
Yeah.
Right? To the channel they're on. So, but the subscription is what helps us get to certain numbers where YouTube recommends our video to more people, right? Like I would love this podcast to be recognized to people who are watching anything, right?
Exactly.
And I mean, it's a lot of fun. I feel like so many people are like I see a lot of videos with young people from YouTube, but really there are a lot of people in our age group that have to be in this situation.
Yes. I think most of America is like our age, really.
Yeah, I mean, you're a baby boomer, right?
Yeah.
I'm the last year of the baby boomers, right? Mm-hmm. I always tell everyone I'm pre-Gen X, right? Like I'm not a boomer, I'm pre-Gen X. But anytime I do something wrong in the house, my son is just like, oh, boomers, right? It just drives me crazy.
No, I'm proud of it. When at work they look at me and I'm like, yeah, I'm a boomer, proud of it, you know? Don't be
All right.
jealous.
So if you're watching the show, we love doing this together, and leave below, in the comments. In fact, I challenge you to leave a comment below talking about, some of the things you're interested, if you're in our age group, or if you're not, you're interested in talking about. If you think there's other people out there who match up good with us that you'd like us to reach out to and put on the show, that'd be great. Just leave us your thoughts below, so we don't think that we're old, senile, aging people who are on this rant and nobody cares.
That's right. We don't want to be visible seniors. Yeah.
All right, everyone.
All right.
Thanks so much for watching the show. We appreciate you, and we love doing this together. And we hope you got something out. If you did, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, show us some love.
Share it with your friends.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yep. And
we'll
let us
see
know.
you all next time.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
In paradise, I kinda like it. I'm paralyzed, when can I see your face? If the sun way, why don't you come out?